Hey, Bob Cooney here, and I want to talk to you about Facebook and virtual reality. So, there's a new book out that is by Blake Harris called The History of the Future. It's getting a lot of buzz around social media, and it's basically talks about the inside formative years of modern VR. And there's been a lot of attention paid to an internal email that Blake uncovered from Mark Zuckerberg to key executives inside the company around their strategic thought process guiding the company's movement into the virtual reality. And what he talks about is driving the adoption of VR as quickly as possible so they can own the market. And it's well documented, but you might not know that Facebook lost the race to mobile. They were really late in Zuckerberg's opinion. They were really web-based, browser-based. All the browsing moved to mobile. They really struggled coming up with a mobile model that worked. They had to tweak their app a bunch of times and go back and forth between browser and app. And finally, now they've obviously nailed it, but it took them a couple of years to really work it out. And their stock suffered during that period because Wall Street knew they were losing the engagement battle and they were losing people to mobile and they weren't playing in it. And you look at that period, you can see their stock price really suffer. So here you have a company that's worth hundreds of billions of dollars with a lot of cash, and it's very profitable. And their value, their enterprise value and their revenue is really tied to how much time you and I spend on their platform absorbing their content. So they've created algorithms, which are fairly well documented as well, not necessarily in detail how they work, but what they do, which is they create this dopamine loop of giving us feedback, which we like, which drives us back there more and more and more frequently for longer times. And the statistics around how many times a day people go to their phones, and a lot of that is Facebook, but not just Facebook. There's Instagram, there's Snapchat, there's more, freaking every time I pick up my phone, there's 15 notifications that give me reasons to dive in. And so, Facebook wants to own this next computing platform. So what it means is they were late to mobile. So what they want to do is they want to be first to VR and they want to own the VR platform. And the reason for this is because VR stands to be the most addictive platform there is because it's totally immersive, right? So you get inside VR, all of the real world, whatever that means, distractions are gone. So imagine if all you could see is your phone and you'd be staying in it for longer and longer and longer. And that means that Facebook would be making more and more and more money from their advertisers because ultimately their revenue comes from advertising. And there's an adage recently that's come out that if you're not the customer, if you're not paying, you're the product, right? And so these free services like Facebook, you are the product. They are selling you and your time and your interest and your ability to buy things to advertisers, right? And so when you look at virtual reality and how immersive it is and how it removes all the external stimulus, their ability to keep you in it for longer and longer and longer times for the means of selling more advertising at higher dollars and to more advertisers. You need to understand that that's their game. That's their end game, is to get as many of us, a billion people, into virtual reality as quickly as possible so they can sell us advertisements in VR. And so if that's not a little scary to you, I don't think you're paying attention. And I just want to call that out. That's their why behind it. I don't know what to do about it other than build awareness to it. And I'm not saying we should take to the streets and burn Facebook in effigy. I actually use Facebook. I like Facebook. I think it's a really useful tool. It's connected me back with people that I'd lost touch with. It allows me to stay in touch with people in a way that I could never have done before the advent of social networks. So I fucking love Facebook. But I also think that as consumers, we need to be aware of where they're going and what their strategy is. And they're a public company whose job is to drive profits and shareholder value. And the way they do that now is by engagement tied to advertising. And virtual reality stands to be really engaging, really immersive, really addictive. And what that means for society, we'll be talking about over time. But I just wanted you to be aware of it. And I want you to think about it. And I'd love your comments below. You know how to do that. Drop me a comment. Let's get the conversation going. Thank you.